Mike McGarry, Press of Atlantic City. Good morning, Mike.
It's all about the voiceover guy, Sully, in radio. That's what they tell me.
Hey, man, makes me sound like a big shot over here.
Exactly. We need all the help we can get, so that's good. Yeah.
The South Jersey Sports Report with Dave O'Sullivan.
There you go.
Mike, before we get into some football, wanted to piggyback on what Coach Scott Leacock was talking about a little bit from Rowan University women's soccer about the social media. You're a high school sports reporter. You follow a lot of these high school athletes, to get information about maybe if they announce a college decision, that kind of thing. How important is it for these kids to really monitor what they do on social media? Sometimes I'm sure you've seen some tweets or whatever from high school kids, and you're thinking, ooh, that might come back to burn this kid.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing to remember for high school athletes, and not only high school athletes, but 51-year-old reporters is everything that you tweet out or say on social media, does not disappear. It is out there forever. And if you're, irresponsible or lose your head or make a bad decision for 30 seconds, it can affect your life down the road. So it's really, that's really something that you kind of have to understand about, social media. The positive side to social media is it just makes the high school sports community, even closer than it was. I remember, 10, 15 years ago, to get a kid on the phone for an interview could be a 4-hour or an all-day process. Now, if we don't have a kid's number, we put out a bat signal on Twitter, and within 20 minutes, somebody who knows that kid has seen it and contacted that kid, and that kid is calling our office. So, a lot of times people tend to focus on, you have to watch yourself on social media, but, there's a lot of good that comes with social media, and it makes an already vibrant community even more vibrant and closer together.
Now, Mike, let's jump into some high school football. You were down in Millville last night watching St. Augustine Prep take down the Thunderbolts 41-21. How impressed are you with the Prep? I mean, they've really got things rolling this year.
Well, I think, as I said to somebody last night, and you're talking about a team that scored at least 41 points in all four of its wins. Most good teams have a guy. They might have 2 or 3 guys. The Prep has multiple guys. They got 4, 5, 6 guys. A prime example of that last night is running back Kyle Dobbins, who leads, the press area in rushing. Had a relatively quiet game for him. Let me emphasize, for him. He ran for about 70 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. For him, that's a quiet game. But the Prep has 4 other guys. The quarterback, Josh DeMott, 11 for 11, ran for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. Zeke Innes returns a kick, 82 yards for a touchdown. Shamir Collins catches a touchdown pass. Xavier File, 5 catches for 66 yards. True Robinson, a backup running back who would probably start at just about every other school in the Cape Atlantic League, comes off the bench and runs well. So, where good teams might have 2 or 3 guys, the difference with the Prep is they got 6, 7, 8 guys, that can play.
Talk with Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City. Mike, how surprised are you that teams like Oakcrest and Vineland are sitting atop their respective divisions in the West Jersey Football League?
Well, I mean, obviously, we're surprised based on, the past record. I mean, Oakcrest comes off, I think, a 5-5 season. When we last saw them last year, they were losing to Absegami on Thanksgiving. They have a coaching change here with Chuck Smith going to Mainland, Eric Anderson taking over at Oakcrest. But you look at the names on that Oakcrest team, and I think I talked about this kid, last week on the show, Yair Hinton, at linebacker and running back. I think he's been a 3-year starter, maybe even a 4-year starter. He is one of the more underrated players in South Jersey. He's really an outstanding player. And you look at Vineland, on the other hand. Vineland's 3-0 for the first time since 2010. Oakcrest 3-0 for the first time since 1986. Vineland with a chance to go to 4-0 against Cumberland next week. Vineland with talent in the backfield. Isaiah Pacheco, a 3-year starter at quarterback, now a junior. Davon Seymour, good running backs. Cash Phillips transferred in. He's a talented running back. So these teams have some talent, and and the beauty of it is the West Jersey Football League is matching them up against some programs where they can compete and maybe get some wins and build some momentum, and both teams are taking advantage of that right now.
Yeah, you mentioned Oakcrest and Yair Hinton. Man, let me tell you, Mike, I was at the Mainland game last night. He put a hit on a play, linebacker blitz on a running play, just blew up the play from the start, forced a fumble, scooped the fumble, ran about 45 yards untouched for a touchdown. I mean, this kid can make some athletic plays from the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and you add him with Yashin McKee, that sophomore wide receiver, and again, what do those two teams have in common? You look at them. Vineland has Isaiah Pacheco, who's in his third year at quarterback. Oakcrest has Kendall Elliott, who's in his fourth year as quarterback. And maybe they took some lumps when they were freshmen and sophomores, but those freshman and sophomore lumps are now paying off. In Pacheco's case, his junior year, and Elliott's case, his senior year. And when you have an experienced guy handling the ball on every play, that usually bodes well for most teams.
Talk with Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. Mike, how do you see this Independence Division working itself out? You have three teams who are really in contention for the title at this point: Oakcrest, St. Joe, and Cedar Creek. And obviously St. Joe and Cedar Creek have the pedigree for the last couple of years, championship quality teams. Oakcrest kind of coming in as that upstart, trying to shake things up. They're all going to start playing each other here pretty soon in October. How do you see this thing shaking out?
Yeah, it's going to be a round-robin sort of effect between those three teams. And don't forget about Absecami. They go up to St. Joe today, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of St. Joe team takes the field after losing the Holy Spirit last week. Are they going to be a little crisper, a little sharper than they were last week against Holy Spirit? So you hit it right. You've got two really teams that are ranked in the Press Elite 11 in Cedar Creek and St. Joe, and then you've got the upstart Oakcrest with some, underrated players. And with, I think, probably playing with, if you can judge by social media, with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, a little bit of a, we're playing pretty well. Why, maybe we should be getting more attention. Well, the Oakcrest team will have an opportunity to do that, in their games against Cedar Creek and St. Joe. And those, the games between those schools will definitely be the, three of the biggest games as the season progresses here the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see how that division shakes out, and to see if Vineland could keep this going and cause some kind of threat to St. Augustine Prep in that Continental Division. Yeah,
well, I think Vineland and St. Augustine Prep meet at the end of the, I want to say the regular season, meet right before the playoffs. So that last week, cutoff week, and of course Vineland has Millville on Thanksgiving, so that pushes the division game back. So Vineland has an opportunity of walking into that prep game on week 8 with a very good record, and that's another huge game if both teams continue down this road. Vineland and St. Augustine in week 8 basically, and then the winner of that game obviously takes a big step towards the Constitution Division. Because last night St. Augustine kind of took a step forward with their win over Millville. Kind of, if we didn't know it already, kind of established themselves as the team to beat in that division.
Talking with Mike McGarry, Press of Atlantic City. Mike, real quick before we let you go, we're in the final week of September. What's on your radar in terms of high school sports? Not just football, the other sports. Any big events coming up? What are we looking at for the final week of September?
Well, I think as we get into September into October here, you're going to start to look for some of the conference races in boys soccer and girls soccer and field hockey kind of to take shape. That Ocean City field hockey team off to a tremendous start. St. Augustine soccer, off to an excellent start. And you're looking for those teams to sort of put themselves in position for the playoffs. You've got the coaches tournament, 16 the best teams in boys and girls soccer teams in South Jersey. That field will be finalized. That tournament will start this month. And you start to see some cross-country pickup. You got the big shore conference coaches meet, I believe, next weekend up at Homedale, the site of the state championships. And that gives you an early feel for who's going to be, some of the runners to watch when those championship races are held in November. So, it's officially fall now, and, we're starting to get into the meat and the heart of the fall sports season.
Mike, any chance we're going to get you down to Ocean City next Saturday night for some field hockey, Oak Knoll versus Ocean City, or are you going to pass that off to Guy Gargan?
I think we might give that one off to Guy Gargan. Guy is our field hockey guy. He's done a great job for years, and since that's a home game and he lives in Ocean City, that might have Guy Gargan written all over it.
There you go.
But that would be a great one. Oakdale is a state power, and this is one of, Ocean City is a great team, and maybe this is one of the better teams they've ever had over there at Ocean City.
Yeah, definitely going to be an awesome game. We're going to preview that a little bit next Saturday night, 5 o'clock, Oak Knoll at Ocean City. Probably one of the biggest games in South Jersey field hockey in recent memory.
Right, at least in this part of South Jersey, it's unusual that you have sort of teams from Oakdale, from North Jersey. It's unusual that you have those teams from different parts of the state meeting each other in the regular season in field hockey there.
Good stuff, Mike. As always, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for joining us.
All right, you too, Sully. Thanks a lot.
All right, that was Mike McGarry. Always appreciate his insight. He's been doing a great job at the Press of Atlantic City.